What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're running an Amazon FBA business right now and you're stuck in that grind trying to do everything yourself, from sourcing, packing, answering emails, admin work, and answering every little thing, you're eventually going to hit a ceiling. And that ceiling is usually right around that 30 to 50K a month mark. Now, the reason most sellers don't break through that 100K month and beyond mark is because they aren't building the proper systems to scale. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. In this video, I'm breaking down the three core systems that you need to scale past 100K a month with Amazon FBA. This includes a system for sourcing with virtual assistants, a system for prep and logistics with a prep center or a warehouse, and a system for admin and financials so you know your numbers. We're going to screen share my Miro board so I can literally map this out for you step by step. And as always, if you get value from this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check the link in the description if you want to apply for my one-on-one mentorship program where I help beginners hit 10K a month fast. And if you're already selling on Amazon, help you scale past 100K and beyond. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get right into this. So if you want to scale past 100K a month with Amazon, you can't do it alone. Here is the systems that you need. So the first one that I want to go over is prep center and a warehouse. So this is what we're going to do to outsource our prep. So when I first started Amazon, I was prepping all my products from my apartment and it became extremely overwhelming. And it got to a point where I had little to no living space and my apartment was just flooded with products, and prep was starting to take up hours upon hours of my time, and I spent less time sourcing and I spent way more time prepping products, which in order to scale, you cannot focus on prepping your products. That is a low ROI task that can be outsourced and buy your time back. So what exactly does outsourcing to a prep center or starting a warehouse look like? So once you're in that 30 to 50K a month range, a prep center and a warehouse is most likely going to be mandatory. So with that, we have two options, a prep center or a warehouse. So I'll go ahead and go over the pros and cons of both. So a prep center is fully hands-off. You don't have to deal with your products. You don't have to see them. You don't touch them. And they store all your products and they ship them into Amazon for you. Usually when you work with a prep center, when you buy your products, you send them directly to the prep center. You update a Google Sheet to communicate with the prep center to let them know what's coming. And then once they receive it, they'll usually send it out within 72 hours. Now, the cons to a prep center. Once you hit a certain level and you're sending in X amount of units per month, it's going to outweigh the cost of a warehouse. So at scale, this can definitely get costly. Another issue is vetting prep centers. So there are tons of prep centers out there. Finding one isn't going to be the real issue, but finding a good one is going to be your problem. You need to find a good prep center with good results, good communication, and they don't make mistakes with your inventory. Remember, they're going to be handling all your product, so you're trusting them with tens of thousands of dollars worth of goods that need to get into Amazon, and it's all in their hands at the end of the day because you have no control over this process anymore. Most prep centers usually charge between $1 and $1.50 a unit, depending on what scale you're at, but they also have a lot of other fees, such as building pallets fee, boxes and bubble wraps are fees, and there's many other things. You also sometimes don't have the flexibility to control your logistics, which means sending full truckloads, LTL shipments may not be an option depending on what your prep center offers. So these are all important things to get in touch with your prep center before signing with them. So now we have a warehouse. This is personally what I do at my scale, and I'll explain why. So the pros of a warehouse. So firstly, the best thing about a warehouse is you have all the control over your warehouse. When you buy products, they get shipped to you. You can identify any issues within your shipment right when it gets to your warehouse, so you don't have to go back and forth with the prep center when something is wrong. So if things come broken, damaged, missing, you can immediately communicate that with your manufacturer, distributor, supplier, whoever it is, to get that handled right away. There might be a delay when doing that with the prep center because you need to ask the prep center for pictures, images, get an accurate count, etc. So there might be a delay with a prep center, but warehouse, you have full control. Now with the warehouse, you do have to store all your products. So depending on what you sell, you need to take an account of your warehouse's climate. If you're selling grocery, perishable goods, stuff like that, you don't want your goods damaged just because of how you're storing your goods in the warehouse. Now, I think the biggest pro of the warehouse is probably how cost effective it is. So like I said, with prep centers, you're paying $1 to $1.50 per unit. So let's say you're sending in 10,000 units, right? So if you're sending in 10,000 units to a prep center, that is going to cost you potentially $10,000. Now, to operate a warehouse, depending on your costs, you're going to be significantly under $10,000 all in with your operating costs to send 10,000 units. So for our warehouse, it costs us right around $3,000 a month all in. And after labor, we're right around $5,000 to $6,000. And that's to process 10,000 units in that 1 month. So overall, I'd be saving around $4,000 to $5,000 just by operating a warehouse. But when you get a warehouse, it doesn't just start operating itself. You have to build the systems out and slowly step away from each process while it's being built up. Now, with that being said, there's going to be a lot of mistakes that occur in your process, and you're going to have to deal with that just because it's growing pains, but you will learn. It takes some time, but in the end, this is way more cost effective at scale. Now, you might be asking, well, when's the best time to switch from a prep center to running my own warehouse? Well, it all depends on your goals. So some people don't want to deal with operating a warehouse, managing employees, dealing with the bills, the lease, all that stuff. So they just outsource all the work to a prep center. And it may be worth it for some people to not have to deal with that extra stress or have to deal with another system. So a prep center is just one system that you have to deal with, but a warehouse is a bunch of systems within a system. So it's going to take a little extra time, but it's very rewarding. Now, if you're the type of person that wants to be extremely cost effective, I would move from a prep center to a warehouse when it makes the most sense to be the most cost effective with your fees, right? So if you're saving $5,000 a month just by switching to a warehouse, that's $60,000 a year. In my opinion, that's definitely worth it. Now, on the other hand, some people still might not think it's worth it dealing with the warehouse, but once you get the systems in place and it's running smoothly, you'll be good to go. Now, what a good prep system looks like is when your products land, within 72 hours, those products are being shipped to Amazon. That is a very standard thing for prep centers. Now, in a warehouse, you can build those systems yourself, but you also have the ability to hold items and save up to do a full truckload to get cheaper shipping. Now, a prep center and a warehouse are the best options to outsource your prep work so you can focus your time on other tasks, which will bring you more money at the end of the day. The logistics system is the backbone of your sales when you're at scale, because you're not going to be able to handle thousands of units coming in if you don't have this figured out. You do not want prep to be a bottleneck in your business because it's one of the easiest systems to handle, especially with a prep center. But there's no right answer to picking a prep center or opening a warehouse. Just go with whatever makes sense for your business at the time. Don't get into a warehouse too early. Go with the prep center. That's always the best thing to do. Make sure you know the process yourself if you're getting into a warehouse and start refining that process. But in my opinion, warehouse is good for late game. Prep center is great for scaling up to 100, 200K a month. Now, the next system we have, virtual assistants. So what exactly do we use virtual assistants for? These virtual assistants actually go out and they source products for us. So everything that I've learned sourcing wise, product research, Keepa, SellerAmp, I teach them and they go out and apply that same criteria to product research and bring me back leads. They handle everything that I know how to handle sourcing wise, plus more. They do reverse sourcing, they do manual sourcing, storefront stalking, the whole 9 yards when it comes to sourcing. Now we have minimum criteria in place and standards so they stay efficient and they bring us the best quality of work every single day. Now, I still source myself. I don't completely outsource sourcing products to virtual assistants. You still want to keep refining your sourcing game so you can continue to grow with your virtual assistants and teach them new strategies to find better products as time goes on. But when you start scaling, you're going to need more leads and it's going to take up a lot of your time finding all these products to spend 50, 100K in a month. Now, you don't need to fully outsource this process, but it's meant to buy you back a little bit of your time so you can focus on scaling other parts of your business rather than sourcing all day. Sourcing is the most important part of the business because without products, you can't make money. Now, how do you hire a virtual assistant? There's actually a couple ways to do this. Now, my favorite one is using onlinejobs.ph. This is basically a website where you can post job listings in the Philippines and they can apply to work for you. Now, the reason we outsource work to the Philippines is because it is much cheaper to buy labor over there compared to the United States, and they do a great job overseas. If my VAs are watching this video right now, shout out to you guys. You guys are the best. You already know it. And yes, my VAs do watch my content from time to time. They are the absolute best. They save me a lot of time and they're just really good at what they do. I can't be more grateful for that. So onlinejobs.ph is the best way to hire your virtual assistants. Throw up a job listing, tell them what the job entails, tell them how much they'll get paid, and you're going to have hundreds of applicants overnight. Now, there's definitely tricks to weeding out the best applications from the worst ones, but that's for another time. So to get these virtual assistants solid and good at what they do, they need trained. Now, a lot of them are going to say they have lots of Amazon experience, they know what they're doing, but you want to take all that with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, you are the one running the business. To them, you are the subject matter expert, so you need to train them on how you want this work done. If you want things sourced a certain way, then you need to tell them that. Now, my best advice, Loom is a great software that you can make quick training videos on, and you can make exactly how you want your criteria sourced. You can tell them how to vet websites, the whole 9 yards. Think of it as if you are trying to teach teach someone new how to source, make a bunch of Loom videos and give them a library that they can go back through and use this as resources to train. Now, another thing I do is I would hop on calls with them every single week to go over live sourcing. We would go over the best and worst leads of the week, tell them why these leads were good in depth, tell them why these leads were bad in depth, and how we can improve on this stuff. We have SOPs set up so they know exactly what to do. Whenever they clock in for their shifts, it's not supposed to be a guessing game. They should know exactly where to go, exactly what to do, and a system for their sourcing routine so you get consistent results. We have them set up in a Google Sheet, and it has a bunch of tabs where they have multiple resources, banned brands, websites they can't use, websites they can use, how to get additional discounts on certain websites, a checklist so they can ensure that the criteria is being met every single day, and then feedback that is given on every single lead that they find on a daily basis. If you are putting work into your VA is going to produce great results. If you're putting your VA on autopilot and you let them do your own thing, you can't expect much out of them, and that's what I see a lot of sellers do. Huge mistake. Now remember, just because it's a virtual assistant and you've never met them in person, these people still want a work environment to show up in. Build a team, build a relationship with your team, make it so they want to come work for you every single day, and it's very rewarding from them. Create incentives such as bonuses, a profit share system, anything that can give them something to look forward to and want to be on your team. Now, if you've trained them properly and you've done all those things that I've said, your VA should come out with 3 to 4 solid leads a day, if not more. Especially if you have a great bonus system in place, it incentivizes them to put out more leads. Now, the long-term benefit of this is it frees up your time, which you can put that time into strategy, which overall helps your growth. So yes, you'll be sourcing a little bit on your own still, but you'll free up that time for strategy and it'll help you grow at the end of the day. So lastly, we have admin and bookkeeping. Here is another reason why most sellers plateau. I have so many people telling me they made X amount of money per month and then they don't know where the money is, or they don't know how much they made, or once they sold through all their products, they were supposed to make 30% ROI, but they don't know where their profit is, or they made significantly less. And this is exactly why. On top of that, this is another huge thing you need to stay on top of for your taxes. You don't want the IRS coming after you. So lots of these admin and bookkeeping tasks are very tedious. Now this comes down to bookkeeping, putting in your buy costs for products, tracking your P&L, tracking your inventory. Now these are real simple things, but it's very overlooked because people just put it off like, oh, I can do that later. But if you stay on top of it, your data is going to be very accurate and you'll be able to predict into the future more, which overall is going to help you for growth. And not to mention, if you aren't on top of your admin and bookkeeping work, you're probably going to have some leakage in your business, and that's where all those extra profits are going. Now, you can hire a VA for some of this, but this is also where a CPA comes in. You can get a bookkeeping service for $250 a month. That's what I pay, and they do all my bookkeeping. They are linked to all my credit cards through QuickBooks, my bank accounts. They're putting in all my expenses for me. I don't have to worry about a single thing. Tracking profit per unit with SellerAmp. You need to go into the SellerAmp settings and make sure that your fees are properly structured for your business. A simple mistake like having a $0 shipping per pound cost in SellerAmp can skew your entire month. You need a software like Inventory Lab or Sellerboard so you can track your profits. These are both great profit and loss tracking softwares. You should have some Google Sheets set up with order trackers so you know exactly how many of each product you ordered, so when things are missing, it's not a surprise and you know exactly where you bought it from, what it costs, so you can contact the brand, supplier, and let them know you didn't get it. Track your damaged units in spreadsheets, upload pictures, invoices, all that to spreadsheets. But you don't have to do all this yourself. You can have a VA scrape through your email and upload all your purchases into a spreadsheet. You can have them download invoices and attach them line by line, so if you end up getting an IP or counterfeit complaint down the line, you're not digging through your email. You can search up that ASIN in your spreadsheet and you know exactly where that's at. Now this even comes down to tracking your KPIs with your inventory so you know how fast it moves. So if you have a replenishable SKU, you know exactly when to order, how long that takes from ordering from your supplier to getting to your prep center or warehouse. This will help you identify your cash flow better, your sell-through rate. These are all key things that attribute to growing your business. Now, if you can't measure these things, you won't be able to scale. Scaling past 100, 200K a month requires lots of attention to detail to all these processes and just perfecting them. Now, they're never going to be perfect, but you can always get them better. So systems create your freedom, and without them, you're going to hit a ceiling. It's not harder work, it's just structure. Now, putting all these things together is what gives you that structure. You don't have to do these all all at once. Do them one at a time. Once you hit that 30 to 50K month, start getting a prep center or warehouse. Once you have that figured out, hire a VA, start getting used to training a VA. Then once you're putting in a lot of orders and you're scaling, make sure you're staying on top of your bookkeeping and your admin work. Don't overcomplicate it. Just take your time and do it piece by piece. It'll all come together in the end. So those are the 3 systems that you will need to scale past 100K a month with Amazon FBA. It's not about working harder. It's about putting the right systems and people in place so you can focus on strategy and growth and not get stuck in the weeds. If you got value from this video, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm dropping new FBA content every single week. And if you're ready to take this seriously, check the link in the description to apply for my one-on-one program. Whether you're just getting started and want to hit your first 10K month fast, or you're already selling on Amazon and want to break past 100K a month and beyond, I'll walk you through the exact roadmap I used to build my $3 million a year Amazon FBA business. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one.